YouTube world, check it out. Check it out. I know a little bit late on the story, but I'm gonna do this little video about the whole Floyd Mayweather being sued. I know it's a little bit late, but this is my raw perspective and gather up a lot of information about it. Overall, what I see is that basically, and this is common sense, especially, cats have been in the street, whatever. One thing you don't do is you don't allow anybody to, when you're making a lot of money, you don't allow them to hold their money. I don't care if they're supposed to be your best friend / your business partner, anything of that nature. You don't put your trust into them. You got to keep strictly business. And on that note, basically just saying, you got to keep a poker face at all times. I think where Floyd Mayweather messed up at, that number one, he don't know how to read. You know what I mean? And I think he couldn't really read because of him not being able to read. Reading equals to comprehension. That's what a lot of people don't understand. And that, this should be a lesson to all youth out there, and it's even adults too. That gotta learn how to read. You know what I mean, or comprehend. And these things are very important, especially when you're dealing with anything with contracts of that nature. You have to understand them. A lot of times, in the contracts and what I'm hearing, in the boxing industry, just like a lot of industries, entertainment, period, where there's certain coded words and stuff, that terminologies that it's in fine print, but sometimes, a lot of times, people don't read between the lines, and they don't know what certain things mean, and they end up getting sucked into getting sucked into basically signing away on a contract. And I think a lot of times this is, and those people, I'm not even calling them out, but those people, they played on him. They knew what time it was. They basically took advantage of him because they knew that he was foolish enough to, number one, they knew that he was a flashy type of guy, so they knew, I'm pretty sure, and him being a fool, he was flashing it on the TV and things of that nature, online and everything else, and I think that's another reason where he get messed up at. They played on him, and basically they knew that overall they was going to get back, basically on everything. But I mean, he chose to really side with those type people, you know what I mean? He chose to really side with them, and I remember, he had like a manager, he had like a whole nother team before. Like, I remember he was underneath a black dude, another brother, older guy thing, and he was the guy. I think, I don't know if it was like his trainer or something like that. But anyway, he was the guy that was basically getting Floyd Mayweather all his money and everything. And Floyd, this was the days where he was still Pretty Boy Floyd and everything, and I think even his, I'm not sure about his father, but I know he had some relatives too that basically was around him too. But for some reason, he ended up getting rid of the dude that ended up was getting him all the money and everything. He ended up getting rid of him, and the rest of whatever team that he had, and replaced it with this whole new team. And this guy is suing him. And just, I don't know, it's just a messy situation overall, but this is what happened. But this is what happens when you don't use common sense and don't know how to read. When people don't know how to read, they get taken advantage of. And I know this is a common thing, especially in the entertainment industry as well as in the boxing world. I mean, there's boxers that couldn't read, you know what I mean? I don't even want to go there, but it's boxers that couldn't read, and anybody grew up in the '80s know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? and there's no question about it. It's a lot of people couldn't read, and even rappers too. And it's a known fact that a lot of rappers, especially nowadays, they only can read on a third grade level, and don't even mention about the overall population of people, especially in the States, because there's a lot of functional illiterates just walking around each and every day. And a lot of people be surprised when people don't know how to read and stuff. Reading is definitely fundamental. I believe that up to this day, and it's a good thing to know how to read and comprehend a lot of things. And I think this is where Floyd Mayweather
Good morning.
messed up at. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, this is where he messed up at. He basically messed up on not knowing how to read and basically comprehend certain things. And they got him for what they got him for. But at the end of the day, he chose to side with those people. So now he has to deal with it. And now he's in this messy thing with this child support. He's being sued for millions. Getting taken to the cleaners basically. But he's a fool too for that too also, because you should know that you don't get no stripper prego. You don't do that. You definitely don't do that. Him tricking away a lot of his money, making it so-called rain in the club and all of that. So, he basically put himself in a very, very messy situation overall with everything. And he has to hold accountability for that for himself, And I think it goes back to not having common sense, not knowing how to read, basically, and just everything overall, all the above. This is just an unfortunate situation, but hey, it should be a lesson to everybody, basically, learn how to read, know how to comprehend things, especially when it comes down to contracts, things of that nature. If you don't know about contracts, nothing, basically get somebody that's certified, that knows about that, like an attorney or something like that, to read between the fine print. And when it comes down to just like, with the money, basically do the right thing with the money, don't be blowing it in all type of stuff, all this jewelry and all these things that basically don't really mean nothing overall. I think that's where he messed up at too. And on top of that, you getting a stripper, like I said, pregnant. Don't get no strippers pregnant out there. To all people out there, don't get no strippers pregnant. Don't trick on them and nothing like that. So this should be an overall lesson to everybody, especially guys that's want to come up, guys that's doing their thing. And just, it's so many lessons in this. I could go on and on about this whole situation. But definitely also learn how to read. Don't be afraid to learn how to read, basically. And if you don't know things, don't be afraid to learn. And just basically just have common sense. If you don't have any common sense, then gain some, you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. But let me know what y'all think about this whole Floyd Mayweather situation, what y'all think. The the whole lawsuit, the stripper thing, him getting the stripper pregnant, and then his whole child support issue and everything. Let me know what y'all think. Like, subscribe, share 82 Brooklyn 7. Like, subscribe, share 82 Brooklyn 7. Hype up the video. Definitely subscribe. Definitely like the channel. You know what I mean? Subscribe to it. Come out with more videos. And on that note, I'm gonna keep pushing. And I'm Audi 5. Peace.